welcome to nerdL.A.G again, guys. This is TN. We have Zach.
Hey, guys.
We have Adam. Adam is now looking at his phone playing a game right now.
No, I'm actually doing research for a later segment.
Okay. And
Adam, say hi.
Nah, I want to.
Oh, you don't want to. He just doesn't want to. And
Adam's really not here.
Yeah.
I'm a ghost.
Ooh. And we will be talking, of course, about life, anime, and games. Woohoo! All right, first subject, we're going to talk about a revival or trying to revive a series. Adam, can you tell us a little bit about what you saw?
Well, yeah, there was a little while ago a kind of drive for people to watch Young Justice on Netflix. They'd recently put up the second season for it, which I was excited for because I never got to see that one. I started watching it when it was on Netflix. And Netflix for the longest time didn't have season 2, even though this show's been canceled for a couple of years now, 3 years. 4 years?
It's about 3 years at least. Okay, just those who don't know, Young Justice is a DC cartoon series, and it was basically almost a variation, almost Teen Titans, right?
Yeah,
It's like a Teen Titans,
Yeah.
Justice League
Yeah,
thing.
it's kinda
It's more,
crossover.
yeah, it's more of it's more adult theme, I would say, or teenage to older teens and stuff like that. I would feel.
Oh, definitely starts out first older teen.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were a few things in the first season that was just plain cringeworthy.
Good
the way that-
cringeworthy or bad cringeworthy? There are a difference.
The type that makes you think back to when you were a teenager, and then the type of people that you hung out with, and then you remember the interactions that you had just by watching it. You're like, oh god, those things.
And it has a lot of characters from the past. I mean, it had Robin, Aqualad, it had Superboy, it had someone
Miss Martian, had Artemis,
yeah,
had
and
Superboy.
basically the sidekicks of the main heroes.
Kid
And they were being trained by the heroes, Superman, Batman stuff, to become heroes themselves. But
Yeah.
and they actually made a group. So yes, very similar to Teen Titans. When Teen Titans was, I would say, more drawn better and
When
Yeah.
before Teen Titans was Go.
yeah.
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 Ghost sucks.
And
Take it off the air.
And I mean, it's sort of cool that they are doing this to try to bring it back, but we've also seen a lot of shows try this effort. You know, we have. I mean, Firefly is the biggest one you can say that a lot of people keep pushing and pushing and pushing.
Yeah.
And you know it's not going to happen. I mean, very few shows have actually survived and been renewed, but we've also seen two of the biggest examples.
Futurama would be
Yeah,
top
and-
one I'd go with.
And it still,
Yeah.
it still got canceled.
Yeah.
It still ended. The only other one that still got renewed and is prominent is Family Guy.
Yeah, true that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another one I think is Venture Brothers. Didn't that get brought back?
No, I think that one's still
Venture
prominent.
Brothers is back again with the new season.
Yeah, but it's not been canceled. It's not been canceled ever.
Well, they didn't have
no.
new episodes for a while, didn't they?
They were.
I could have sworn.
They have like seasons, like where they're like,
They'll
yeah,
have
we'll do a
huge gap.
season, and then
Oh,
like
they
have
have
the gap.
larger hiatuses,
Yes,
they
but
have
they've never
that.
been canceled.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
And-
So that's my...
they're too good.
They are enjoyable, but you know what's also
No,
funny?
actually, that probably works really well, just having that break where
Mm-hmm.
it allows them to really, all right, what do we want to do here? And plan it
And
out
how to
and then
fine
go.
tune and work
I
on
think
it.
that's how all good shows should be doing it.
Avatar is another great
yes,
example.
Yes
Yeah.
and no, because when you know that it's going to come back next year, you know when it's coming back, it makes you go, okay, I just have to wait that 1 year. When people don't know when it's coming back or don't have any idea, sometimes that high dissipates because you have to replace it somehow. I mean,
Well, I think hiding it away, just
Absence
ending
make-
it and then saying nothing about it, and then just coming out with it, maybe a week or a month before, be like, "Hey, we're bringing it back." I like that.
You'd still need like 6 months of, hey guys, we're bringing it back this fall.
they
Why
have
that
to,
long?
Because that's how people, I mean,
It
you'll
has
get
to
those
stay in
few
the mind.
people that'll be like, okay,
Hardcore.
cool.
Yeah.
And then you've got the people that are going to take that and be like, hey guys, did you hear that this is coming out? Word of mouth.
Yeah.
If you don't have word of mouth for that period of time, people
And
are going to
people
forget.
forget. And that's the thing. Absence may make a heart grow fonder, but that's the reason that's used for people because you'll remember the person. If you put a show on and it was just a show that they enjoyed, then it goes away. They're like, okay, I got to find something else.
Think about how long movies have of advertisement. They've got the teaser trailer, then they've got the regular trailer, then they've got the we're coming out really soon trailer. Like it just keeps building up.
And I mean,
Like you can't, don't forget it, don't forget it, don't
yeah,
forget it, don't forget.
And usually they have a good range of when they're going to expect 2 to 3 years. I mean, if for a movie, if it has a sequel, usually that's a good time frame because it's still fresh enough. It's a movie. So you can easily pop back in, watch it. It's only an hour and a half, so you can easily refresh. But a TV show that's 24 episodes usually.
Mm-hmm.
That's a binge weekend if you have to watch and catch up again. Yeah, and also, if there were a bunch of ones that you don't like, you may not want to see them all.
Now,
So-
what about the ones that are like years gaps? Like,
I could tell you one that people, and this is also the catch, like one that I've heard people always wanted back and did come back was Arrested Development. Never watched it myself, but people kept hounding it to come back, and people wanted it back, was really good and stuff like that. Finally came back. I think it got a third season, maybe even fourth. Has anyone heard anything about it ever since?
nope.
There you go. It came back on Netflix, so it's easy access too. So that's also the catch. You don't know how people react after getting what they want. People hounding, wanting it, that sort of makes it draw, but you never know if it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, another good example was Avatar. They had the first series, which was incredible. Korra started out really, really strong. There were a few people who weren't as big a fan of it, but I never understood people's dislike of season 1 of Korra. But there are only a few people I've ever talked to, and I've had discussions with them. And even after having a conversation, I still don't understand.
I think it's
Season 2 is pretty unanimously considered bad, but that's another segment entirely. Season 3 and Season 4 kind of came back and we're like, all right, cool, we'll keep what Season 2 had, but mostly we're going to ignore that, except for Episode 1 of Season 3, which basically was a giant slap to the balls of every Avatar fan ever.
well, if you know why. It's always freaking network. Okay, network. Since I brought this up again, we'll circle back to Young Justice. Remember what I showed you today about...
Yes, the giant sexist cockleding.
What was it?
Okay, the reason why also we brought this back is because the reason why Young Justice got canceled was sort of like, what the F does that mean?
Change cockleding to cockfest.
Yeah, you know how shows, get canceled? Sometimes it's because they don't agree with the producers, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the real reasons why Young Justice got canceled is because it was more prone to a unanimous liking of everyone instead of focusing on what the main demographic was. Teenagers.
So they didn't...
They wanted to sell toys to boys.
That's so, yeah.
So because
Oh.
the toys weren't being predominantly sold to male children, it was canceled because the target demographic wasn't reaching what they originally wanted from it. So
was it reaching to the girls more?
Yeah.
yeah, families were watching
Yeah.
it more prominently than just young boys.
So they... What?
yeah.
Yeah.
This is on record. I read the segment and then I turned to Tina and I was like, all right, that sounds like a whole bunch of sexist bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I was like, all right, is what I just read literally on record? And
It was on a
there are
podcast,
multiple
yeah.
points that go into detail about how that is actually what happened.
That is
They canceled the
retarded.
show because too many families and girls watched the show.
That's
How does that
lame.
make sense? Like, I mean, just okay. You accept your new target audience. Oh, okay, cool. We have families and girls watching this. Let's change our toys that we're trying to sell more to fit them. So instead of having action figures, change it to be more gender neutral figures.
Right.
Like, you don't have to make a box blue, which is dumb anyway. Make the toys fit more ranges of ages. You can go with like the stupid
Green.
Yeah, whatever. Sure.
Gray, whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Color is
Doesn't
not
matter.
gender.
True.
But aim for smaller children toys if you've got families watching it. You've got those little bobblehead things that people make superhero toys out of. You've got those toys that are designed for like the Transformers that are not able to transform, but you press a button and it switches up, and then like the legs just split out slightly, and it's a terrible toy, but it's designed for a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Make some of those; they'll sell. If you're watching it with a family, target who's watching it.
And
Don't
you-
just
Or
maybe
target for the older audience. Maybe get more...
like giant, nice scaled toys.
You know what also really annoying about this? You have to think about this. If that was targeting, everyone, family members, because they were enjoying it, do you think of why Teen Titans changed then? Because they were think of who
They were trying to target a younger generation.
Yes, and males too. So that's why it sort of went to that go fact.
That go just needs to stop.
I think that's true because think about it. teenage boys. I mean, we were all that age once. What do we like? And don't say anything that will get us banned.
Well, let's just say that Sailor Moon was popular not for reasons they probably originally intended.
Yeah, and so that's why it's dorky humor that's just fast and ecstatic and all that stuff.
Well,
which
like Dragon Ball Z.
I don't know, though. The plot in Sailor Moon doesn't hold up to anything, so I'm guessing it really probably was exactly what they intended.
Yeah, pretty much. But, I mean, that's the big factor. I mean, we are seeing nowadays either cartoon shows in America either going focus on that niche or going Universal. And we've seen what Universal does. It's really actually quite well. I mean, the Avatar series, the Young Justice, usually those type of series are great because they
Wait
do
a minute, you're talking about old school good cartoons. Nowadays we have
well,
Old school Avatar ended just about 2 years ago.
and
if that.
and Young Justice ended 3. How old is old school to you?
Yeah, like, are you talking
old
like...
school my generation.
No, then Avatar doesn't fit that.
That doesn't fit yours. You were like, think about
I
it.
was an adult when I first started watching Avatar.
Yeah, I was too.
Like,
Okay, let me rephrase it then. This newest generation of cartoons on Cartoon Network.
you mean the ones that are written by people who are on more drugs than there should be in the world?
Yes.
Well, supposedly some was still good. I mean, people keep saying Steven Universe is great. The
No.
other, I just what I've heard, and then another series that was
We were stuck in a hotel room and nobody turned the TV off and Steven Universe was playing, and from what I saw, no.
yeah.
And then Uncle Grandpa? No. What else is there?
I don't.
There's the regular show.
Which that's really popular with like especially not preferably, but especially with a lot of 80s kids. I've noticed. There's even guys at work.
There's that one. There's also Adventure Time. Basically,
I like Adventure Time.
I say minus the main characters and just give me the history of Adventure Time. I think that would be more interesting in that. Because
I've tried to watch each of them and I find them just grating. Like the art style, the voices, the plot line.
The plot line, I say
every single part of it's just
the main plot line. But that's why I said I like the history of it. It has more of an interesting history to me because it tells about war, it tells about what happens, it tells about what happens to the characters. That seems more interesting than following the main characters around. But
On which one?
Adventure Time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's more development in the back that I want to know instead of what's put on the forefront. But, you know, it's just strange that a lot of series that we want to see won't because a lot of networks have to hit the niche and make the money. And, I mean, I would love to see Young Justice come back, but we've seen series very, very rarely survive that and try to be revived that way.
I think if they were going to go that route, I mean, maybe continue on the story from Young Justice, but DC has had a really good string of animated films. Their
The
acted ones are more hit or miss, but they're most of the time when they release an animated film, they're taking the good points of the comic book, dropping some of the questionable parts, and making a really good film.
Mm-hmm.
Their TV shows, for the most part, have all been good, with the exception of the cough.
Mm-hmm.
And so
He said go if you couldn't understand.
yeah,
Teen Titan, go.
Yep.
That one.
the Teen Titans was it's been a long time since I've watched it, but it was enjoyable back when I did watch it.
Mm-hmm.
It had a nice little balance between
Plot, comedy.
right, and then each episode didn't have to revolve around the central plot. It would build up over time.
Mm-hmm.
You would have growth points within there, and it would kind of reference back in the main plot. I was like, oh, that was actually related here, but it wasn't directly related. So kind of having that real world, you have an experience that affects you later on, but they're not directly tied together.
Mm-hmm.
Which I like that
Yeah.
about. Well, that's what I like about a lot of animes too, because a lot of animes do that. They'll go on to a different story, take a left turn, but then it'll somehow come back all the way around and actually have something to do with the main plot. It's like, oh, okay, it'll follow a different character or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're going to still sticking with the anime. Let's go head over to Japan, talk about a little strange thing that happened with a ceremony in a Japanese high school. Now VR has been a big thing. You guys know that. Zach, you're loving it.
Heck yeah.
And Adam, you and me have tried it now, and we've thought.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
hey,
They got to try it.
We'll explain. And what'd you think of it?
The game I played wasn't involved,
Mhm.
but I mean, it's a demo. Not much to that. But the quality of the visual, like the ability to just completely immerse yourself, like no outside stimulus get in. That was nice. Just
Okay.
being able to just play the game. Had
Now-
it been a game that was more directly tied to my type of game, that would have been ideal. Like
Yeah.
watching Final Fantasy 15 or playing some of the demos, I find that given the option, if I could have that sensory integration to where I was only seeing the TV screen, especially during cutscenes, like that game has some gorgeous
Visuals.
topography. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the scenes themselves are incredible. Like the way the light is done, like the lighting is great. There's a lot of depth and detail to the shadows. A
Are
lot
we
of
talking about 15?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, let's
Um,
save 15 for later, guys. Actually, we're saving for let's save it for later.
Okay. Well, anyway,
I was-
the detail that has,
Yeah.
I would love to play that game with the
VR.
yeah.
The
just-
reason why I'm bringing this up, though, is because in Japan, we have usually, Japanese high schoolers and stuff have opening ceremonies. And, they have all the students sit there and they have the president or the headmaster of the school talk and give, welcome this year, you are students, because it's a ceremonious thing. For this year at the school, they gave everyone sitting, all the students, VR to see around the school to test it because the school is unique. It's actually a unique school. Here, I have some
Man, I bet
images.
you that was expensive.
Look at this.
Holy crap.
Yeah. I'll show you in a sec, Adam.
Those look like the
Galaxy.
Is it the Galaxy?
Yep, and see, actually use that. You can see the ceremony actually taking images from the outside
So
and looking
they're
around.
sitting inside, but it takes place in the VR outside.
And you look around the school, look around the area, see the flag being raised up. And the reason why that this school is being able to to use this is because let me hold on. I'm showing. Did you just break your chair? It's because
I think so.
This is a school that is actually focused more towards, voice acting, more towards doing gaming design, more towards the more modern times. Actually, it's focused on finding a career in the world of the internet.
Okay, well that makes more sense now.
I mean, one of the headmasters is a producer from Studio Ghibli,
Oh,
and he was
really?
there making announcements and actually giving a speech. But think about that. Think how much technology has changed, and we had that technology when we were in high school. We would
That would be crazy.
just to be able to actually go and get a Galaxy headset, put it on to go view the school and have people make speeches, stuff like that, or to be able to have an iPad for classes.
Right.
I mean,
What?
honestly,
Okay, if we're talking more legitimate use here, which I do want to kind of state one thing. They spent if I'm not mistaken, the retail price on those VR headsets alone are $100, and they require that you have a specific phone for it.
yes.
So if the school supplied each of those to each student, even
Yeah.
if it was just a temporary basis, you can borrow this phone and this headset.
I would-
That's somewhere in the vicinity of $800 per student that the school has paid for.
Well, I would say with that, I bet you they talked to
Yeah.
Samsung and made it work with them.
A
with
sponsorship or
yeah,
something.
sponsorship or something like that. And that means they would talk to Samsung and figure out how to connect it to maybe one centralized processor to be able to all focus all the headsets into that. Because think about it.
Well,
Or-
think about that. They're all focused in on the same information, but each headset has to receive the same information sending back.
Yeah.
Doable, but it would be far more efficient to actually have the individual servers.
But I mean, this, yeah. No, this is from a entertainment and internet giant in Japan called. I can't even say that name. You say the name. I always mess up. I always mess up.
It's so
Kodoko.
important to say these names.
Yeah,
Kadokawa.
yeah. They are a business company that made this high school for this purpose, to do the design, to make game design, to make voice actors. This is actually a company making a school.
Okay, so that explains why
Yeah.
they have that much more level of fund. I was going to compare it in contrast to the state's budget for school, which is actually declining.
Terrible.
So
Which
if you're wondering why it is that the education difference between
Japan and the States.
then it would come down to funding. But
No,
if that
I
one's
think
run
it's-
by a company,
I think we're not smart enough to put all our money into education.
Oh, that sounds like a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
no, that's something we're gonna argue about for a long time. Okay, well let's move on with anime.
Hang on, before we do.
Okay.
So this was just a kind of like a technical school,
Yeah, it's more of a technical.
So it wasn't just like a high school.
No,
No.
it's a high school that's focused on more of the internet purpose.
Okay.
So-
High schools work differently in different countries
Yeah.
too.
Right.
Some high schools are actually more related to our colleges.
Yeah.
Right, like Japan.
Yeah,
Australia is actually another one. No, not Australia. Yeah. Is it Australia or Europe?
I think Europe because I showed that high school that actually has a class for gaming.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
it's that one.
Maybe both.
I don't know. I
It's-
only
it's been a
know
while
about
since I've
Japan.
Looked up on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, you weeb.
Yeah.
So sticking with school still, we're going to talk about Miss Ellen Baker.
Who is she?
She is actually a character created for English teaching textbooks for junior high school students in Japan. She
So
was-
essentially Math Blaster, except common age.
You played
and-
Math Blaster?
we all played
Who
Math
didn't
Blaster.
play Math Blaster?
Oh yeah. I thought I was the only one.
It's so I think it's more towards like, okay, did you guys ever take Spanish or a foreign language class?
Yeah, but I sucked.
No.
Yeah. No, okay. Do you remember the textbooks when you go in they have people talking and you're just faceless
Uh-huh.
and they just like, they look like they're doing a situation?
Mhm.
Basically, he just thought, let's make an anime character out of this. So he made an anime character to explain the words and the usage. And, someone in Japan said, this is pretty cool, and twittered it, sent a Twitter pic to his younger brother, who
Uh-huh.
then retweeted it. And then it started retweeting. Now, like, a ton of people have seen it.
It sounds like an awesome idea.
Yeah, because honestly, it's sort of like reading a manga or anything like that. You would go, this is more interesting. There's someone with eyes and actually communicate instead of a bland, no-name person.
Dora the Explorer. What?
I got nothing. I've never seen that show. I'm never going to tell you that.
That's the exact premise of Dora the Explorer.
What?
She talks in both English and Spanish to a minor degree.
Have we noticed that actually worked or works?
The level of Dora the Explorer isn't meant to be conversational.
Well, I meant, like, does it pique interest in other culture, or does it help with, wanting to learn another language, or probably even becoming more educated in wanting to learn? Like, has that been proven, like, as a show, that it helps?
No, I don't believe there's actually even been a study on that. Not to my knowledge, at least.
We should do a study on that someday.
No.
Well, you would actually be able to find out just by studying or looking up the number of people who have picked or have completed multiple levels of high school or college level multilingual classes. If there is a steeper increase after that show started airing, say 12 years later for high school or 16 years later for college, probably 18 years later, I don't know.
Speaking about high school and language classes, I'm pissed off about my high school.
Why?
Would you like to vent?
Yes.
Do you need to talk about
I
this?
need a vent right now.
Okay, Miss Ellen, we'll talk to you later. What do you want to vent now?
I was pissed off because the only language class that they offered was Spanish. And, it'd be really cool. I take that back. They offered Spanish, German, and I
French?
I can't remember if they did French or not.
Latin?
No. I think it was just those two.
Okay.
But, why not teach more than just that? Why not teach, like, everything?
Well, French, for example, is a very niche language. There's two countries that have that as
Yeah.
a predominant. Only one segment of Canada and France.
Yeah.
And France actually has a lot of laws regarding it, trying to keep it to where it
It's limited.
does stay French as the main language.
Yeah. I mean,
Because
it's like,
it-
it more northern? If you go more northern, it's more French?
I don't know like the region specifics of it, but
I didn't know
it's
that.
Yeah.
like they don't want newspapers printed in multilingual. They want it
Mhm.
printed in French only.
Sounds kind of like how America's like, no Spanish stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, except it's more of a actual, not dying, but it's becoming kind of archaic.
Mm-hmm.
It's harder to keep that one alive because the regions that require it are so specific.
Yeah, and you have to think about this too. Of course, they would teach those two languages since north of us uses French, south of us uses Spanish.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, anyway, the whole point of my whole vent was after I graduated, they came out with Chinese. in my high school.
Yes, because you have to think of the times that are.
I
being
know,
affected.
but I was upset because I wanted to learn Chinese.
You wanted to learn Japanese. You would
You
have
wanted-
accepted Chinese just
yeah.
because it was still
No,
Asian.
I like anything Asian. I'd love to learn Vietnamese, Korean, Chinese, Japanese.
You don't want to learn it. You want to know it.
Yeah.
No, I want to learn it.
Then how many textbooks do you have on it?
One.
And when's the last time you opened it?
A couple weeks ago.
Couple of weeks ago, still.
It's not as long as I was going for, but
And
My point is-
I'm constantly downloading language programs on my phone, and then they're not helping
Yeah,
me.
they're not. Well, they
you're not
being used.
using it for their purpose. It's
trying.
a daily thing. As long as
Anyway,
you daily use it.
Before you guys bash on me, let's move back on to what's her name.
Okay, well, she started spreading. I mean, the creator is very happy that she's being very popular. She's becoming like a home meme. I mean, Tumblr has images of her, and though he has stated that he's grateful that this is happening, he's worried that her purpose will be modified and changed. You know, but she was made to be a tutor, well, helping teach English language to Japanese. But you know how things get.
What's her
Rule
name again?
34.
Yeah. Oh, don't get.
What's her name again?
Ellen Baker, and type in like anime.
I'm pretty sure that's the first transformation that they'll have.
Look look how she looks. What do you think? Will it? Yeah. I mean,
That looks like a standard anime character.
yeah.
Ellen Baker was the astronaut.
Yes, too. That's also true.
Huh. The one that she was the one that died in what's that called? Columbia, right?
I haven't studied it.
Don't remember right now.
Or the Columbia. I can't remember.
Okay, while he looks it up, let's go on to a anime since we're sticking with anime, and we'll go with Fooly Cooly since Zach is so excited
I
about
was
it.
so not ready for this. Hang on. Where's it at?
Well,
What,
pretty
Fooly
mu-
Cooly? Or?
Fooly
I found
Cooly.
it.
Zach, tell us a little bit why
So-
you're excited.
Fully Cooley is coming out with 2 new Fully Cooley seasons. So Toonami is to co-produce, and they are coming out with a remake and a new story, and the story is going to follow a girl instead of a boy this time.
What?
As the main
full
character.
series?
Yes, as the main character. The main character is going to be
So hold on.
Hidomi.
So basically, the remake is a separate entity to the new series.
The first one is. It's going to be a remake of the first one.
Okay, and then the second season is going to be a new character.
Yes.
So instead of following, and I quote, puberty from a boy's perspective, it's going to be puberty from a girl's perspective?
Yes, that's what I was excited about, is because now we don't get to just watch the whole, the premise of the story from Fully Cooley if no one really knows. It's pretty much, what's the word I'm looking for?
An allegory, an algorithm, an analogy.
Analogy of what it's like for a boy to go through puberty in a weird random sense.
Basically, if you took a whole bunch of drugs and tried to explain what puberty is, that would be what Fooly Cooly is.
Yeah. And so this one's
That's
going to
not
follow.
praise, by the way.
This one's going to follow a girl, and I'm excited.
I don't know because it's the catch of, okay, we understand why some shows get rebooted, some shows get remaked, and some have sequels. If a show is like Fooly Cooly is unique in itself, you watch it, you're like, okay, how do you reboot that? I mean, honestly,
Well, I'm pretty sure we have some new drugs to try now. I mean,
I guess that's
there's
true.
different combinations
Well,
that might create a new story
because,
out of it.
I mean, I have read Fooly Cooly. It's a fun series. It's a unique series, but it's like anything else. Usually reboots are done because they have a good way of doing it. I mean, Full Metal Alchemist, we use that a lot, but that got almost rebooted.
well, it was done as a way of not having a whole bunch of filler or not going off on its own story tangent.
See, but it had a purpose to that.
Yeah, which was great.
Yeah, Sailor Moon. I know you're gonna say, but Crystal is a reboot, and it's done to go focus more on the manga instead of being a lot more filler and a lot more odd things. It's focused on the manga a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But the dialogue and the plot
I know,
still bad.
But it still had a purpose to change it and reboot it. And it had something else to build off of it. Fooly Cooly, you have the manga, which honestly I think it's pretty close to what the anime was in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
But how do you then improve on it? Because you can't. I mean, it's like any show that has,
if I was going to do it myself, take a premise of explaining puberty or giving a story about puberty without directly stating puberty, one, I would take far fewer drugs, and two, the fact that they're doing it from a female's perspective would be great.
Yeah.
I couldn't write that. I could enlist the help of a lot of girls and be like, all right, you tell me your perspective of what it was like, and I'll do my best to translate that into the story.
I wonder if they're going to have a lot of females working on this version of the
better?
Fully.
You would have to.
Well,
Well,
that or
there are some people, like if you're a father, you're going to have a better
That's why I was
understanding
thinking
of it.
if he had
Mhm.
children that
Oh.
were girls, that would be a better way to see it.
If you are in a really good relationship with a girl, then especially if they're going through that kind of phase, nobody that I know of would have been mature enough to understand what was going on at that time frame for a girl, let alone themselves. But at the same time, you can still get a better understanding by having that kind of a conversation with someone who is. So, relationship or otherwise, like romantically, if you're close enough, you can ask those kind of questions. So even if the writers are more predominantly male, as long as they use the source material from someone who actually experienced it, then that would still help.
I think it would help a lot.
It would be the only way that would be done properly. Because I can create a whole bunch of fiction on it that may or may not be accurate. But it's
Theories.
Not, yeah. You know, my understanding of the physiological aspect and assumptions based upon the way that it's portrayed in media, etc. But it's not going to accurately represent the psychology of being in that position. So I would be going out and asking a lot of my friends, all right, can you explain to me how puberty affected you? You know, you were a child, you were watching cartoons, and then
You just
suddenly,
get this one girl. She's like, yeah, I can explain it real easy. Chocolate, pissed off, happy, horny.
These are not comments made by me or Adam. This is just Zach.
But, you know, given that kind of a spectrum, if I was going to make a show about it, it would be a kind of mishmash of that. So where, you know, she's in the middle of eating a chocolate bar and suddenly she thinks of the boy she has a crush on, teacher that she has a crush on.
You just went in the weird zone.
Think about it. How often is that common, though?
I guess
like
it is. Now that I
there-
think about it.
Did you
Yeah.
never have a crush on a teacher?
Yeah.
No,
Nope.
I never did.
You might not have had an attractive
Yeah,
teacher.
I had-
No, I
had
never
a-
did.
Okay.
I will admit I had a crush on a teacher.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's common. When there's
Yeah.
someone that looks
Attractive.
to you, they don't need to look attractive to everyone, but as long as they're
Yeah.
attractive to you,
You
then especially because when you have a position of dominance or respect, then that can also trigger additional things.
True.
So even if you don't have a kink for it, it can still have that kind of an effect where you're more attracted to them because of that, or in some cases less attracted, but still attracted because they're just attractive to you.
I wonder how this. I mean, okay. So I know the premise here of this story because I'm reading it here, but I wonder if they're going to incorporate anything kind of like that. You know, like crushes on their teacher or crushes
They're
on
gonna-
like a pop
in
star.
In a
or-
way, they will, because honestly, we've all had those feelings when we were teenagers.
But they
Well,
never
and-
showed it in the first original Fuliculi. The only thing
They
that-
were focused on horny. That was
Yeah.
it.
No,
Horny
they-
and drugs.
there was never drugs, but
You had to be on drugs to understand what was going on or to write that. You
or
can't
just have to
argue
have a
that.
messed up brain like me, or just be real random
Sure.
like me.
Okay.
I argued and won.
Okay,
Did you see
okay,
that?
yeah,
That just
yeah,
happened.
That's awesome. Okay, sticking with randomness.
Hang
let's-
on. One last thing on
Gosh,
Fuliculi.
dang it!
It's just real quick.
Every time I try to segue, you're the one who told me to keep doing it.
Okay, I got to read this just for the people who are actually interested in the Fuliculi. So, Adult Swim describes the new season story. In the new season of Fuliculi, many years have passed since Nyota and Haruko shared their adventure together. Meanwhile, the war between the two entities known as Medical Mechanica and Fraternity rages across the galaxy. Enter Hidome, a young teenage girl who believes there is nothing amazing to expect from her average life until one day when a new teacher named Haruko arrives at her school. Soon enough, Medical Mechanica is attacking her town, and Hidome discovers a secret within her that could save everyone, a secret that only Haruko can unlock. Okay, now you can move on.
Well, I had a way to say random and stuff to move on to Nerd Stump, but let's move on to Nerd Stump now.
Random, Nerd Stump.
There you go. Awesome. Okay, we are now talking about Nerd Stump, guys. It is a game we play every week when we do our podcast. If you guys don't know the rules of how we play it, go listen to some previous podcasts. We explain them there. So let's get this started. Who wants to go first?
I just want to quickly comment on that because
Which one are you commenting on?
Fully coolly thing.
Oh gosh, what is it?
because it can either be really bad or really good. Because if it's about self-discovery or acknowledging your growth as a human, then that could be a really good story. If it's any way as perverted as most likely it will be, it's going to be really bad.
We are 3 males.
Think about what you just read and tell me you can't pervert that so quick.
We are 3 males, so
yeah.
our opinions on the female we don't know that well. So we also have
It doesn't
that.
matter.
I know,
Guy or
but still-
girl.
I know, but still, just in case.
The phrasing of that
Just
is
in case.
basically just saying, I'm going to go back to my closet and masturbate a whole lot. The secret inside to saving the world is masturbation.
We are now marked not safe for work.
And recue the music for the game show.
Okay, who wants to go first?
Not me.
Adam, you go
I
first.
can do it.
Go first.
All right, TV show.
Okay.
Wait, that's a category?
Screw it. If it's nerdy, I'm going to accept it now. Go.
We've lost all control.
We freaking went. That's. I don't care. You go.
Pink.
Okay.
And middle school crush. Pterodactyl.
Kimberly from Power Rangers.
Correct.
I was totally going to guess that, too.
Slow on the draw, Mr. Staring at the TV screen.
And I will agree to that. Okay.
Yeah,
Zach?
I'm right there with you guys.
Okay, so who's next? Me or you?
You.
Okay, mine is anime character. It is a princess. Able to win ride or win riding. Communicate with giant bugs.
Nazca?
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys are like super duper quick today.
All right, so what's your character, mister? I was staring at the TV screen trying to figure it out.
Hey,
instead
you
of playing the
wanted
guessing game.
us, yeah. Come on.
Okay. So
We should have took him more breaks though. I just want to see his reaction.
So mine is going to be a
Pause.
as me and Adam look at our phones.
anime character.
Okay.
Wait, you can do that better. Anime
Buy me some time, Adam, quickly.
character.
Okay.
They gender neutral statement.
Meep.
Okay. Anime character.
Okay.
I'll give.
You may stump us. We actually got ours really.
Robot.
Okay.
Um.
You may win this, Adam.
Quiet. And if I remember correctly, multiple personality, bi-personality,
Multi-personality quiet robot. Anime character.
I'd have to double check that last one.
You want to go first, Adam? Or you want me to throw out?
If you've got something, go for it.
Gee.
Okay, never mind.
I don't know how. Why?
Should we just start giving him the points no matter what?
Well, it didn't start out that way, but he's been getting there quick.
You guys.
Jeez. So was I right? Does she have two personalities?
Basically, it's just the idea because her sister's in her for temporary purposes.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yes.
Okay, I remember. I was gonna say a dirty turn-on switch, but that would have given it away.
Though, Adam, have you seen Showbits?
No.
Then I would have gotten it instantly anyway.
The power switch is on her crotch.
Yeah, no, you showed me that scene. If you'd said that, I actually probably would have
still a
said
cute-
something from Chobits, but he would have.
It's still a cute series. I think it's really enjoyable.
Chobits is awesome.
Yeah, it's a great series. One of my first ones I ever started loving manga and anime.
All right, but in all seriousness,
That was probably
if you were going to have a what I presume is a dating robot, where would you put the on switch? You know the answer.
I wouldn't put it there.
Really?
Yeah, because
Well, he doesn't understand.
wait a minute. You said
It's
dating
specifically
robot
yeah.
or sex robot?
I'm assuming it's the same.
We
Okay,
are really not
so-
safe for work now.
So if it's because I don't want to turn it on and off all the time, constantly on and off, on and off.
I
On
would
and
stick
off.
with Chobits rules because if you turn that off, it resets her memory completely.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then if you turn it on and off so many times, It's gonna like crash.
I don't know the mechanics of these things. All
Okay.
I know is that if you wanted it on, that would be where the on switch is, and if you wanted it off, somewhere else.
I put it like on the
Okay.
back of the neck.
Okay, talking about sexy.
Really?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay, talking about sexy things. Let's move on with gaming and poses.
By the
and
way, that
victories.
was the quickest nerd stump we've ever had.
Yay! Okay, so moving on with poses and the internet's outrage on some of them. Okay, this week we've seen Blizzard have a little bit of what would you call it? Repercussions from a
I would say backlash.
backlash from
Yeah.
a character they made from that was me. From a character's victory pose in Overwatch, a game they just released pretty recently, still in beta, I think. And it was for Tracer. And she is a British female double wielder, I think. And her pose was, I think, Zach, you've seen the pose, right?
Negative.
Let me show you the pose. Adam, you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah. It's basically a cami pose. If you really want to get down to the basics.
What's Cammy?
Cami from Street
her,
Fighter.
That's
Like
her
with-
original pose.
Oh yeah, I've seen this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So legs to the side, kind of creating a V with a little bit of a kind of thumbs up pose on one hand, looking back over the shoulder, and the butt is very prominently facing the camera.
Yeah.
So, to fix this, they said, okay, we're going to change her victory pose. And through the patch update, they gave her a new victory pose, which, Zach, is this.
And that's better how?
Well, this is the funny thing. What the complaints they received is because it was either too sexual, but the main emphasis was about the sexual was because of her butt.
But her
Which-
butt's still very prominent in that picture.
Not as,
I mean, it's not centered, but
Yeah.
it's still prominent.
Yeah.
Like there's still
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why?
Tight
How is
pants.
that better?
yeah. And like it's actually this second image is based off a old image that used to be put up.
1950s,
Yeah,
60s pinup.
Yeah, like a
Oh,
pinup.
okay, yeah.
So that's why they did that to just go, we fixed it, guys. But what do you think of this? Because I mean, honestly, we've all seen victory poses. We've all played fighting games. I mean, that's the biggest one I could think of victory poses.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to victory poses themselves, they're already things that are outside of the norm.
I mean-
like when you win something, you don't actually go into a pose.
Mm-hmm.
Like at most, you do like an arm pump or a walk around or just yell.
Walk around.
Like when-
won. I'm gonna walk around.
No,
No, some people
when-
like run with their hands in the air. Like,
Yeah.
Woo!
like you get up from the high tense situation that you've been in, and you just let out the energy. Like you're relieving that stress by moving around. Good stress or otherwise, but you're venting your pent up emotions.
You're exploding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you're not just like in your opponent's face, throwing your crotch everywhere. Pumping in their general area.
I don't know. Have you seen my victory pose?
I don't know. You've never won anything.
Oh, dang.
The truth hurts.
But a kind of comparison, Ryu's typical victory pose is accurate. He picks up his bag of homeless belongings and then just saunters off.
Well, that was his new victory pose. His old one was he just crossed his arms and turned around, the wind blew.
Yeah, I mean that was more of a pose, but
Yeah.
and then things like camis have always been overly stylized. Not
Mm-hmm.
no, okay, not they haven't always been overly. Like at some points, it was something that was more like a fist pump.
Mm-hmm.
She would do the leg spread thumbs up thing, which is a slight bit sexualized,
Well, that's
but
the thing. Do you
it's
think,
only slight, mostly because of her
do you
attire.
think? Do you think victory poses for females are now really over sexualized these days?
Yes and no. It kind of depends on the game and the character.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Chun-Li's actually fit really well. Jumping in place,
Place and,
then
yeah.
definitely more girly, but
Mm-hmm.
it was accurate and it wasn't sexual.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now you've got things like Cammy doing like 3 backflips and then a butt shot. They actually did an edit on Street Fighter V where they moved the butt out of the frame a little bit. So both on entrance and exit, if I'm not mistaken.
So you're pretty much saying most of the victory poses are pretty much just dumb because no one would celebrate like that.
A lot of them are. Ken's have always been very spot on. He just does a quick thumbs up, like, yeah, I won. I don't think Ken's ever had an exaggerated pose. But then other characters just go complete AWOL ham. Although I guess technically M. Bison, since he's telekinetic, I don't know. If I could lift myself up with my mind, I'm pretty sure I'd change how I would respond after a win. So I mean, yeah, there are definitely some exaggerated segments that are on the females win poses. Even Chun-Li's has changed over to where she goes through a few fighting stances and then it's kind of like a jiggle bomb fest at the end with her boobs.
Didn't they fix that?
I think they probably did as well. I mean, apparently there have been a lot of edits on them because people are getting backlash for them going away
that's the
from.
thing. Do you think, like, I mean, people complain and stuff like that. It's your right to, but do you think it's getting too much where we're like, okay, they're complaining now, let's go change this and make it so everyone's happy?
Well, I don't think it's going to be everyone's happy because I mean, I'll be honest. I didn't really notice
I don't notice
the Cammy thing to begin with. I didn't notice Chun-Li's aspect until it was brought up.
Same
And
here.
then I kind of thought, oh, I can see why you're, annoyed by that. But I play enough video games and watch enough TV and stuff like that where I don't notice the hypersexualization as much as I could. There are some things where I'm just like, really? Anime is a kind of a trigger for it because they focus on it a lot. But
Oh yeah, that's true.
with Western TV shows, it's a little bit more about posing, what they wear. The fact that in almost every single TV show they only hire air quote hot actresses.
Yes, but even that, I mean, they dress sexual, but they don't.
Yeah.
They don't act like I want to sleep with everyone. Well, except the character.
It depends on.
Yeah, if it's a normal character like a run of the mill like average, they won't act like I just want to bang everything. Those characters are so specially made, but we see that
I like those characters.
because we know Zach. But
Well, no, I think that having a healthy balance between them because everyone has a friend that's kind of more like that on both gender sides.
I'm trying to think of ours right now.
Me.
Yeah, but you're also
No, you're more
related into
yeah.
your marriage and you're not going
Yeah,
around sleeping
yeah,
with
you're
people.
not-
There's a
you're not-
difference.
Well, that's
You're
true.
horny towards everything, but you're not.
But you have
acting on
a
it.
focus. Yeah, you have
Yeah.
a focus with it. Not
I'm talking about the type of people who actively seek out new partners.
Nelson?
Sure, he actually fits the criteria very well.
we apologize.
Well, no, like I said, this isn't a negative statement. It's just if you want a lot of partners, then you're going to seek them out, and that's perfectly fine. I've got plenty of friends who are even polyamorous. Like it's as long as you are upfront and open about it, like not lying to people and saying, "Yeah, let's go on a couple dates," and then, "Hey, I
Leave
got
them.
what I wanted," and then back
Yeah.
out. Then that's fine because you're not putting up a fake front. You're literally telling people, "I'm in this because of this." And as long as both people agree to it, that's perfectly fine. It's when you start being dishonest with it that it becomes an issue. But we're kind of digressing.
Okay. All in all, what do you think of this overall?
I think, one, they were ignored what the issue actually was, is that they had a sexualized pose, which really it's not overly sexual.
No.
It's just,
we've seen worse.
well, yeah, I mean if the complaint was you're overly focused on the butt, which I agree with Blizzard in this regard, it wasn't bad. It wasn't like, oh my God, so sexy. It was just,
She turned around.
yeah. I mean, if anything, if you wanted to fix it, put on pants that don't clinch into your butt. Like the fact is that she's essentially not wearing pants because
They're
of
skin
how tight they are.
They're skin tight. That's
So
what it is.
if you wanted to fix it, you could keep the pose and just have the pants fit like normal pants. But at the same time, we live in a culture, the U.S. culture, at least,
U.S. culture.
where sex sells, and sex can sell anything except sex.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they're doing it as a business practice. It makes sense to sexualize all female characters because that's what sells. It's dumb, but it works. So that's going to be the case. So if we get to a point where sex is no longer viewed as negative as sex, but you can use it for everything else, then that will be the shift that will allow us to grow as a society.
Which will never happen in this society, at least in our time frame.
Right.
No, but I will probably dead long before we actually grow up. But that's not the point. The point is,
How old do you think our society mentally is in the U.S.?
the U.S. is strangely somewhere around 16. Like, still really horny, but doesn't know how to deal with it.
I could live with. I could see that. Okay, Zach, what do you think about all this?
I think they are overreacting.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So just let the artists do what they want. It's their game. Let them build their video game. If you don't like it, don't play it. If you don't like it, don't don't deal with it. Just,
That's a little over the top, though. Think about it. If that was, let's say, chainsaw bunny skirt wearing girl that fights zombies in a school.
lollipop chainsaw.
Yeah, that
That's
whatever. If you were trying, if that game was incredible, like if that game played like Kingdom Hearts does, or Street Fighter 5 does, or not 5, 4,
I was like,
whatever.
what?
Anyway, Smash Brothers. You know, pick one of your favorite games right now, and you had to deal with giant jiggly breasts, upskirt shots all the time, and you're someone who's not into that. Like,
Well,
you want to
then-
play the game for the game.
Then you wouldn't play it because, for one, the artist isn't going for that demographic. He's going for a certain demographic. So he's going to be drawing or creating the game for those people, and those people are going to buy it. If you want to play the game, have at it. But, I don't think he should change the game for other people unless he wants to make another game that's exactly the same but without, make a censored version or something, or a less hurt your feelings version.
Well, I mean, the deal is that in strictly speaking fact form, having all of this hypersexualization in things like Lollipop Chainsaw and Dead or Alive, you're not helping the community or the society grow towards accepting sexuality for sexuality. You're using it in other areas to sell a product. And so by perpetuating that, it does create an issue because you're trying to create unrealistic stereotypes. Like most male characters are built.
Mm-hmm.
You've got six-pack abs, giant muscles, unrealistic proportions. So trying to model male characters off of what an actual male looks like, or attainable.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing, except change the gender to female. Something that you could kind of more strive for. Think about how difficult it would be to cosplay some of these characters. Try finding pants that are so tight that your ass literally shows all the detail through it. If you wanted to cosplay the character that's on
Why did
Blizzard,
you mention that? Look at he's gone.
my bad.
Yeah, you know what happens when you say it that way.
Okay, but anyway, think about it. If you wanted to cosplay sexy Ryu, that's the bearded Ryu, no shirt.
Mm-hmm.
He's got six packs, abs, and like muscles for days.
Well, then you airbrush some abs on you.
Actually, that's
I mean,
what a lot
you're
of people
not
do.
wrong, but
A lot of people do that.
but think about it. You're not going to be able to go out to the gym and actually realistically look like that.
But yeah, you.
Not like sexy Ryu. Sexy Ryu is some kind of slight off bit. He's
Let
like
me let me see what he looks like.
Okay.
he's something that you would attain if you Photoshop.
Yeah.
Like regular muscle guys don't look.
Yeah,
that.
but also there's a catch of that a lot of regular muscle guys aren't really
Okay,
attractive.
I've seen people this big before.
Well, yeah,
so,
but there's a difference. Like he's toned in a very specific sense. Like most people that
Right.
look like that, they don't have that same proportion. Like he's perfect bodied.
But
um,
and thank
the
goodness.
perfect symmetry is that
Yeah,
what you're talking
exactly.
about? Well, I mean, I would want to debate that because of what is it called? The stuff that Arnold Schwarzenegger used to do.
steroids.
No, he would work out and then show off.
Yeah,
Wait.
muscle shows or bodybuilding shows or
Yeah,
whatever.
like those.
Yeah.
There's people like that.
No, I know they're definitely muscular, but I'm talking about the symmetry for it, like the body type and everything.
Well,
like
that
that
all depends on. Now we're getting into
Body image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like it. Okay, one leg is shorter than the other a little bit.
Mhm.
Then you're not going to be symmetrical,
Right.
with your abs.
But
or
there's
whatnot.
not something that you can do to fix that. You can
Right.
work on your body's
Balance and stuff like that.
yeah,
Right.
to help with it. But if your bones are slightly different size, you're not going to fix that entirely. One of your shoulders will almost always be so many centimeters or whatever lower than the other.
All right. So we'll just end with that little subject and connect with a little past special episode. And since Adam wasn't here about it, I figured I want to get at least a little thoughts about what we did. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, in episode 17, me and Zach did a Final Fantasy episode, about 15, because we were really excited. I wanted to get that out there. Adam wasn't here because he has a life and work. in the mornings, and I don't work, and Zach works at night. So yeah. Adam, what did you think of all those little hints of things? We showed you the anime, which Zach watched too, the trailer for the game, and you know about the demo. You're going to play that later. So what do you think initially about all that stuff that's been released?
The teaser anime, I think it would be more accurate to call it that. It was half an episode in length. The animation quality was, for the fight scenes, incredible. Actually, going towards the video game and looking at the graphics there, I was like, they should have just done the anime and the video games graphics. But that's personal preference. But the quality for the fight scenes was incredible. And it translated perfectly towards the gameplay of the video game. You could actually tell that each thing that was done in the game is something you can, or in the anime is something you can do in the game. It might look a little different, but each segment to it is something that is done.
It's possible in the game.
Yeah, like it's basically like they took the game's engine and decided we're going to animate that instead.
Like they found a combo that they liked on the game and like, you know what, let's put this into the animation.
Yeah, exactly. So far, like zero plot. They're trying to drive somewhere. There's a giant snake lady that tried to kill him earlier on, and Noctis is going to go fight it. That's the story, and it's 11 minutes long. I did like how they had some actual human interaction in the diner, and very, very just laid back. No real plot. Just here are the characters. Here's them interacting. Here's their base personality. That was a nice little touch. And I think that the next episode or two will. The next episode should probably start with just a whole bunch of action again, which I'm totally okay with. But it's probably also going to do a flashback to, Noctis's first encounter with Snake Lady.
That, or I think it's going to at least try to connect some of the characters to him, because honestly, I don't know if we're going to see any back history in the game about how he met all the people, especially one of the characters who sort of doesn't seem like he's directly connected.
You're talking about Blondie?
Yes. Because he doesn't seem directly connected. I don't know how he's connected, really.
Yeah.
And he even acts like that. I mean, you see subtle things that make you go, huh? It's like he's recording this. Because
I think it might be one of two things. Either he's like a childhood friend or, like high school buddy of the main character. And so he's kind of pulled into the bigger fight for the kingdom, whereas he was originally just some kind of preppy high school kid. I see him as having possibly the largest character growth.
Oh, I bet you that's true. But, just his initial startup.
Are we talking about the blonde hair kid or not?
What is the blonde kid? We got to say his name at least once so we can make sure.
Yeah, I know there's Gatto. I know Noctis' name. Yeah, Ignis is the smart guy.
Yep.
But blonde-haired kid is escaping me because I don't care for him right now.
Yeah, that's characters because I feel bad. Okay, what do you think about the Kingsglaive, the trailer for that?
My God, it looks gorgeous.
Yes, it does.
Like, seriously, I don't care if it has zero plot at this point because it's going to just be one of the prettiest things on my TV screen for a while. But outside of that, it looks like they are trying to focus in on the prequel story to it, the setup for what's going on, and give a really big presentation for what the game's going to offer story-wise. So I really hope that it is good quality story, because from what I have played of the demos and seen of the series, it looks like they are focusing back in on giving a really in-depth story.
See, that's what I said on the previous podcast. I said, Elite, like everything they've done in the past, you've seen, because they started with Spirits Within, Final Fantasy Unlimited, that didn't have really a plot that they could build off of. And that may be some of the defaults because it was also early times for them because it was when they were beginning to use the technology and stuff. But now they have a focus, and it's the game. And they are able to build off of that and just work on the beauty of it. I think that's one of the biggest things is, they could build a huge, grand story, but it has to be huge and grand. They can't really build off of that in an hour and a half like they did with Spirits Within. Or in Unlimited.
No, this is a prequel story, so you can tell. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a story about how what the king goes through at the start of the war.
Oh, what, the movie?
Yeah.
No, the movie is concurrent with the game. Like, while you're traveling with Noxus, this is happening.
Oh, okay.
So,
then maybe not prequel. But it looks like, this is just one viewing of the trailer, so I wouldn't put a whole lot of stake into it. But it looks like the king is betrayed by some religious person in one of the scenes.
The king?
Yeah, or Noctis's father.
Yeah.
Because he's on a podium-esque place. There's the knight thing that was animated inside the hallway. The priest slowly pulls out a pistol behind the king. So it looks like he's betraying him and going to shoot him in the back.
Oh, and just in case, the character's name is Prompto. Prompto.
Prompto?
Yes.
That is not what I was expecting.
That's his name.
That's the name of the
Blonde hair.
Oh, blonde hair. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying the king's name, and I was like, Prompto is
No.
the gruff badass king?
No, I could tell you the
It's
king's
very
name.
prompt.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's okay. I was just saying. I said we gotta get his name once in this. I don't.
Prompto, blondie hair.
Mhm. Yep. So, any other thoughts on all that stuff?
No, I think that the movie will be a great little teaser for the game, showing off what the graphics engine has to offer, the plot line kind of giving you more of a detailed way of jumping into it right at the beginning, and then when the game's actually released, which can I just say this, worldwide release on a Final Fantasy game,
That's pretty impressive.
Pokemon did that with X and Y, and that was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
There were no spoilers.
I want that
there were
DLC.
very few spoilers because some stores just decided to be douches.
I want that DLC.
But the entirety of the premise of them releasing it worldwide all at once is
There's alternate
phenomenal.
costume as DLC too.
And I really hope Kingdom Hearts 3 does it.
Yeah, that's an alternate costume for him. I want that DLC.
That looks spiffy. I mean, personally, I'd stick with the original outfit because I don't think fighting in that is very...
I know, but that would look awesome just to walk through.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, if you could change between it, like when I entered a city and go and like purchase stuff, I would not run. I would literally just be walking in the pimp suit
That would
everywhere.
be awesome.
All right.
Like adding 50 hours to my game time just because of it.
All right. Any final thoughts, guys?
Yep. I got a couple. So I guess the internet decided that the most handsome Pokemon was Mewtwo.
I can understand that, kind of. I mean, Mewtwo
Well,
has that determined look on his face.
Gamers on that.
The netizens.
Yeah, I don't
or
even-
netizens.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the criteria is.
Yeah,
I don't
I-
understand the premise.
I
So
don't
I don't know
either.
what you're qualifying or quantifying handsome as.
I don't know.
But
I'd have to read it.
If I was just gonna go with using the word and think of a Pokemon that fits what I understand as handsome, Mewtwo would probably be top bill because he always has that determined look on his face. He's always calm and collected. He's always in a proper posture.
Mm-hmm.
Like he seems like someone who would be like a businessman if you transformed him from a Pokemon into a human. Like just always
A Giovanni.
Always, yeah, just well Giovanni, but Giovanni has bad posture.
Okay.
True. And
So-
then Baby Metal was on Letterman, right?
Nope.
Not Letterman.
Stephen
Stephen
Colbert.
Colbert.
Stephen Colbert. That's what it was. So check that out. And then Zelda, Final Fantasy, Sonic, Pokemon, Space Invaders nominated for Video Game Hall of Fame. My thoughts on that are just finally.
Pokemon and Zelda should have been there. Well, at least Zelda should have been there for.
Well, this is the second year.
Oh,
Last year it was created,
okay.
so it's pretty new. So that's why I think it's like that.
How was Zelda not part of it to begin with?
I
Right?
would bet you it was one of the finalists,
But-
from last year, and then when
Do they have just like a strict number of things that they?
I think
put-
only 6 went in last year. They do like a yearly amount every year, I bet you. I think 6 only went in last year.
Wow, it's gonna take a long time before
Yeah.
it catches up to where it needs to be.
Yeah, that's why I think it's like that.
So
Like, and you're gonna have to start from the 80s and go up. If you try to throw in some things.
No, they threw in some new things like Minecraft.
oh wow, they need to go.
How did Minecraft get in before Zelda?
No, it's one of the finalists too. And this year's.
Whatever.
We'll
Those-
have.
Those are my final thoughts.
Okay, Adam, you got anything?
Nope.
Okay, I got nothing. So let's just guess we're gonna call this a day on this podcast. So
I'm nerdy, dirty, and flirty.
Something. We're in space.
okay, and remember, don't regret the things you do, regret the things you don't. Come visit me at my Twitch. Also, I do Twitches Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh yeah, if you guys want to follow us on Facebook, go to facebook.com/nerdlag. We're also on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/nerdlag, and YouTube. Go to YouTube, type in nerdlag, find us there, click our channel, Subscribe, like, share,
Comment.
comment.
We're
preferably.
staring so hard to try to remember all of that.
We have a website, wordpress.com/.nerdlag, and a Twitter. A tweeter. And so all those other things, I forgot about putting those in before.
All right, then.
Unorganized. Bye, guys.
Meep.